So we had the Democratic convention last week. I actually didn't do a show last Thursday, was back east at a conference in Washington, D.C., had a chance to watch with this relatively small number of people at a conference to watch Biden's remarks. And then, of course, today we're kicking off the GOP convention. I want to start with Biden. It's a funny thing. I was at a conference with a lot of conservatives. I mean, it's a relatively small conference, but they had offered at the end of the day, if anybody wants to watch the Biden's acceptance speech, then, we'll have it on the big screen, this big ballroom, plenty of seats, plenty of places. So a lot of people left. I was curious because I do this show. I wanted to listen to him. I wanted to assess his mannerisms and what he was saying and promising. And what ended up happening was I'm sitting in this room. We've been there all day. Great meetings. We had great speakers. We actually had the president come and speak. And while we're standing in this room, and they say, well, you can hang around if you want. People are leaving. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to stay. So I talked to some people in the hallway, went back in. End of the story. Not even halfway into the speech, to Biden's speech, I was the only one in the room. I'm standing there going, okay, I guess I'm the last one here. People couldn't stand it. But that is the conservative crowd. But on a serious note, I want to mention that Biden did his speech, his acceptance of the nomination for presidency, and he did manage to get through the speech. I have talked to you and told you all, if you listen regularly, I say Joe Biden is suffering from some degree of dementia. He has diminished mental capacity. He's not able to handle normal conversations, normal interactions with media. He just can't handle it. He did manage to hold his own, relatively speaking, reading from a teleprompter, reading his acceptance speech. However, the points I want to hit in first five today are, for all of the spin the media tries to tell America, all the spin that says, there's going to be a landslide for Biden. He's way up. He's 11 points up in the swing states, and America can't wait to get rid of President Trump. I'm telling you, people, that was a snoozer of a speech, and it was a snoozer of a convention. Nothing exciting, nothing animating, nothing loving about America, nothing expressed about the goodness of America. It was boring and accusatory. If you had to boil it down to two words: boring, repetitious, same promises they make every 4 years and never fulfill, and accusatory, the ultimate endless accusation against the people of America that they're really terrible, bad people that they, the Democrats, need to punish through policies that they will put in place. But the other thing that happened, interesting to note about the convention, was how few people listened. So the most of the entire Democrat convention last week, the most people tuned in to listen to Biden. That's to be expected. So we had 21.8 million people tune in live that night. 21.8 million people. That number marks a 21% drop from Hillary Clinton's speech 4 years ago. 21% fewer people tuned into Biden's acceptance speech than tuned into Hillary Clinton's acceptance speech. That is huge. This is a signal. People are not excited, despite what the media tells you. They're not excited. They do not want to hear what Joe Biden has to say, and they know we can't really talk anyway. Even more so, and interesting to note, a 38% lower tune-in number than President Trump's speech. Now President Trump's speech in 2016, which had 34.9 million viewers. Point is, nobody's tuning in to listen to Biden. It was also one of the shortest speeches since at least 1984. Shortest presidential acceptance speech since 1984. They had to keep it short, keep it crisp, and get him off the camera. But my real point, my takeaway on the Biden thing is that there was just a utter lack of interest on the part of the American people. It's not interesting to tune in to Biden. That doesn't mean that some people won't vote for him out of pure disdain for President Trump or whatever other reason they have, but this is an unexciting campaign to the Democrat base. They're not excited, they're not on fire, they're just tolerating Biden as their candidate. Contrast that with what started today in Charlotte, the Republican National Committee. We're having the Republican convention this week. I want to say what I really like about how this administration is approaching the convention is that they feel, despite the unbelievably lengthy list of accomplishments President Trump has made during his first term, almost with no help from elected Republicans in the House and Senate, truly a president who has fulfilled his promises. They say promises made, promises kept, over and over. But there's a refreshing, like the analogy would be a spring in their step, a spring in their movements, in their thinking about what they want to tell the American people the Trump administration, plans to do for the next 4 years after he is reelected. So they have, first of all, they have divided the days of the convention into meaningful terms. Monday, America as the land of promise. Tuesday, the land of opportunity. Wednesday, the land of heroes. Thursday, the land of greatness. They are focusing in on inspiring people to love America, to appreciate America, a message the Democrat Party can never, ever, ever, ever go to, because their entire campaign every year is about how terrible America is, how many victims there are in America, how all victims should unite together and vote Democrats in so they can institute all sorts of punishments on the bad guys who have hurt these poor American citizens. So there you go. You have the Republicans kicking theirs off. There was also a list of convention speakers released. Oh, well, yeah, that's it. List of convention speakers released. And they have, of course, at the GOP convention, as they did the Democrat convention, they have, the kind of rock stars, the exciting people. And they also mentioned some of the early press releases were saying that President Trump is going to speak every night of the convention. And then other people are now saying, nah, not too sure he's going to do that. That was an idea they floated. I kind of like that. I like the contrast between low energy, not able to handle the job, Joe Biden, and the endless energy, just kind of astonishing, endless energy of President Trump. I don't know if it's going to try, he'll speak every day at the convention, but that was among the plans that they floated and was apparently going to be the case. But they have great speakers coming up. The one speaker I want to focus on in closing out this first five is somebody who is going to be, we'll be talking about more on the show today, and that is a Republican candidate for U.S. Congress, a first-time candidate, a black Republican woman running for a seat in the U.S. Congress from Baltimore. And she has rock star level, galvanized conservatives around the country with one campaign ad. One campaign ad has just fired up people, so much so she released this campaign ad. It went way past viral, just went all over the country. People were so excited. A young, pretty, savvy, full of energy, young black conservative woman in Baltimore saying, I'm running as a Republican, and I want to show you what the Democrat Party has done to Baltimore and to cities around this country. I'll play her ad a little later in the show. I have it ready to play. I'm going to close out by saying very wisely, smartly, the Republicans have invited her name is Kimberly Klacik, candidate Kimberly Klacik, will be speaking at the RNC convention, and it's a fabulous thing. She is really going to be a rock star, I think, whether she wins that seat or not. She's going to be a rock star because she's getting the message out there to the American people that Democrat policies have destroyed majority black cities and inner city America for decades, and it's time to hold them accountable, time to stop cheering them on. One more thing back to the GOP, just to point out that the difference in the feel. The Democrat convention was a week of whining and moping and complaining and criticizing and accusing America of being a bad place. Republican convention, full of energy, full of promise. One particular thing that President Trump came out with, and we'll be hearing more about, he's got a theme for his second term. The theme is Fighting for You. He's issued a 49-point list of promises, list of agenda items he's going to accomplish, falling into 10 categories. He's basically saying we're going to keep on making America even greater. The energy, the passion is there with the Republican side at this convention week at least. We'll see going forward how they do going into the fall. But at this point, you contrast the Democrat convention and the Republican convention, hands down, the Republicans have the energy, the passion, the fire, and actually an agenda, a set of promises that are uplifting, that are supportive of the idea of America. That kind of concept could not be found in the Democrat ranks. And that, my very fine friends, is today's First Five.